This is the biggest part of the mess. It's like hard not to smile when you're doing it. It's such a funny thing to do with yarn, and then I do the edges last. I always do the edges last.
That is so cool, yeah.
Yeah, you tend to get fast at crocheting when it's all you do for 6 months.
Yeah.
Crocheting in and of itself it's like a puzzle, trying to figure out like how to make the exact shape. My name's Sadie Young. My grandma, Betty Young, she taught me how to crochet.
I am Sadie Young's grandmother.
Well, you crochet fast, Sadie. Much faster than me. Oh, yeah.
I always tell people this little story. She was probably, 7 or 8 years old, or maybe younger. She wanted to learn how to crochet.
I was like maybe 4, and she taught me how to do just like a simple like base chain.
So I taught her how to chain. I don't know if a chain is just one stitch after the other and it just makes a long rope.
Taught me how to chain, and then I was convinced that I was gonna make the longest chain in the world and like break a record at like 4 years old.
So she was going to break the record. So we lived in a 3-level with a basement house.
I just like made chains nonstop up and down her 4-story house.
So she made that chain long enough to go all the way all down the stairs and all over.
Yeah, that was the start of it.
That's how she started, and that was the only thing I taught her. The rest is on her.
Right now it's just 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 over and over is the part that I'm at. Yep.
At first she would do like crochet beanies, caps, and just little animals. She made me a little animal, and she made up the pattern. She just does it.
I like the idea of making stuff that is accessible, like affordable.
So then that just evolved into this.
Well, we're inside of my new installation called the Tangled Self at the Denver Art Museum. It's giant, crazy, super colorful fiber art installation that represents our inner monsters as well as the positive aspects of ourselves.
She just went way beyond any of my capabilities.
I think it was 2021, I did my first really big yarn installation at Spectra Art Space. Spectra Art Space is a gallery and an immersive experience in Denver on South Broadway. One of the staff members at the art museum had actually visited Spectra, and it was not when that installation was up. They just kind of came and saw one of our immersives and then reached out to me and interviewed me just to kind of like, I don't know, kind of vibe check with me and like all that. And they kind of told me about all these like different opportunities that they had here for artists, and specifically told me about the pre-court area and how they wanted something that was interactive and immersive, and how much they loved the immersive at Spectra. And then they said I could do it. I was like trying to think of like different things to do, and then I was like, you need to follow your heart. You want to do fiber art. So it was kind of like the first time in 10 years where I did my art just for my art that wasn't a part of Spectra. Almost a year ago today is when I kind of like really started. We met in this space, and then it really took off from there, and I did the full plan and started crocheting.
And I was so delighted that she asked me to make the little leaves for the vines.
It was like an average of like 12 hours a day, I would say, of either crocheting or tufting, so pretty much nonstop. When I'm crocheting, it's not my hands or like my wrist, like most people think. It's my back and like my neck. It's like spinal stuff. I didn't realize like crocheting that much and like that often and consistently, like daily, what a toll it actually takes on your body. It's actually like a very physically, I don't know if demanding is the right word, but I went through some like chronic pain just because of like sitting and like just the position that I was in. So I think that was like the hardest part, was just getting through the pain and figuring out how to sit. I actually bought like 4 new chairs during this project to try and figure out like the best way to sit, because I wasn't used to sitting that much, especially when I was like working Spectra. It would be like 2-3 days in the studio if I was lucky, and then I'm standing all day at Spectra. When I first started college, I was a psych major, so I did 3 years of psychology in college before I switched to art. That is really what inspired the concept behind this, and then personal experience too. I crochet monsters because There's a lot of freedom in crocheting a monster because it doesn't have to look like anything specifically. And it's fun and it can be silly, and it's a silly way to represent something that can be dark. Like, they're named after what I was dealing with at the time in a way. So like when I was making Defeated the Dragon, I think there was like, I can't remember exactly, but I remember feeling defeated and then being like, okay, I'm gonna make a dragon. But I just remember feeling that feeling, and it's like a very human thing to like feel these feelings, and you're not alone if you feel them. It helped me like deal with it so much, just like making it, and I was like, oh, that wasn't so bad. I'm not defeated. I'm resilient. I can make it through this, you know? A lot of them were kind of like what I was dealing with at the time that I was making them, and that's where their names came from.
My group from where I live all went, and they were just all amazed.
When I build immersive experiences, whether it's this one or the ones at Spectra, I really want them to be accessible, and I really want them to be inclusive. I don't build these things for adults, for kids, for rich people or middle class or poor people, or like, I don't build them for specific people. I build them so that they can be interacted with or enjoyed by everybody.
Her Tangled Self is very, it's just good. Makes people think.
But in high school, I had this mindset that art wasn't like what you go to school for. I'm selling my art for a living. I'm doing pop-up art shows. Like, I'm literally doing this. Why wouldn't I go to school for it? So I think the signs were always there, but I think it took me taking that studio art class and that art history class to realize, like, oh, dude, you're doing this. Like, and this is everything that you love in school. Art history is psychology, sociology, anatomy, theology. It's like all these things, and history. I loved all of it, and philosophy. It's like all in one. This is what you want to do. You're already doing it.
She's my idol. Really, she is. I'm very proud of her.
If people like come and then they're like, oh, I'm so inspired by like your immersive, like I'm gonna go home and like do something in my yard, or like the art here just made me want to go home and paint. It's like, that's amazing. So if we can inspire you to create in any capacity, because it is a very healing thing if you let it be, that's amazing. Conceptually, I hope that people come in and know that if they are feeling some of these like negative feelings, that they're not alone. And then maybe like icing on the cake, they feel like they are worthy or enough or resilient or or loved or any of those things that can just like, maybe they needed to hear that and then they leave feeling like they did.
When you can do something you love and hopefully make a living at it, that's success.